Hello and welcome to the very first episode of True North, Grit and Grace, the podcast where we are sharing the stories of Canadian business owners. And it's my pleasure to welcome our first guest. And the reason why this podcast is actually starting, a woman I had the pleasure of meeting at a recent event here locally in Richmond Hill, Amna. Hi, Amna. Thank you for being here with me.
Hello, Anna. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's truly an honor to be sitting here and talking to you.
Oh, the honor is all mine. Thank you so much. And I'm thinking let's start a conversation with you sharing about yourself, who you are, what you do, what your business is all about.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Amna Nawab. I am a textile designer by education and a fiber artist by choice. A textile designer is someone who creates patterns and prints on surfaces that we are wearing every day. For our clothes, we're using it for our bed linen, upholstery, all anywhere that you see a print, there is a textile designer behind designing that print. I loved what I studied. For my thesis work, I worked with hand embroidery to create mixed media art forms. I was a very good student. And because of that, I landed upon a dream job that was based around working with actually creating handmade textiles, which is a dying craft, especially in South Asia, where I'm from. I'm from Pakistan, and I went to college there. Uh, I really enjoyed what I was doing, so I understood. I studied how to create fabric, and then when I joined work, I created it, and then I understood how people responded to what we were creating. So, as a designer, I was seeing that yes, I might create something that is worth $500, but the people who are going to purchase, do they have that buying power or not? But it was still very difficult for me to make that choice that, I would always say, no, but I only design things that are pretty, and I cannot sort of go below a level that is my own benchmark when I create. Um, Soon my life transitioned. I moved to Dubai and the brand expanded outside of Pakistan, and I was the first international employee. And my role then changed from design to selling the product that was being created, and in a market that did not understand the product that we were bringing out into the Western world, let's say. So, my biggest challenge was to pitch something that was designed for a local market in Pakistan, and slowly how we evolved that product into something that was well received by any ethnicity, because Dubai has so many nationalities living. So it was a very good learning experience for me, that yes, we can create so much. And as a creative, we are told that, you have limitless options, but how do you actually sell the craft or the art or the product that you're selling? So I had a great time. Every day was a learning day, and it was obviously a growing brand. So understanding what I was learning and then taking it back and trying to sort of positively educate the environment that I was working in, that, okay, this works, this doesn't work. So, with all of that knowledge of learning through business and then learning in school, when I arrived in Canada, life happened. There is a tipping point in everyone's life. So, I had to make a choice between going back to a career that was quite similar to what I was doing. I was very comfortable in it. That before COVID, retail was booming. So that was one option, because at that point I became a single mother. So I needed to make sure that there was food on the table. But I chose to do something that I loved. And it was a second chance to life. So I made a promise to myself that I'll figure out a way that I wake up looking forward to love, and to love what I do, to my work. And that's how I chose to start my own business.
You started your business at a very interesting time.
Yes, yes, yes. It was very interesting. And I think I took it as a sign, because after going through a lot of things in life personally. Like I was seeking help with a psychiatrist. I was trying to make sure that I was eating well, and I understood that until and unless you are not healthy yourself, you are unable to take care of people who are around you. And that was the first time that I really understood what self love and self care was. That because we are raised with the understanding that you have to give to people and you have to care for the people that you love, and that is how you are fulfilling your responsibilities. But I understood that um, you know loving yourself, giving yourself time is the best way to try and transfer that to whoever you are around, especially your children. So yes, and for everything, I was looking for a sign. And when the lockdown happened, and this decision that I wanted to do, this came just I think a month before COVID. So yes, it was a very interesting time, but I think COVID brought out the best in a lot of us.
That's true, actually. And this is one of the things that happens. So when we experience a crisis, it does bring the best
Absolutely.
out of us. And as you were thinking about your journey, what would you say was the hardest part about stepping into having your own business? Yes, like you said, you were prepared, like you had the experience, you even did the sales part. But what would you say was the hardest part? Something that you wish you knew more about, or you wish you were more prepared for?
I think production is the scariest thing because when you start a business, you have to have a product. You can think of a product, but how do you produce that product? And at the time that I started, because of COVID, the world was locked down, and there was no access to travel and to even explore because I didn't even know what I wanted to do. Yes, I understood how production worked, but I had never really been in production myself to know how to source and all the other details that come with having the product ready. So that was the hardest part. But um because I was in so much therapy, I had learned how to stay present, and I would sell something when it was in the future. Selling my product was in the future, but the day I started my business, I had to really tell myself that yes, I have to start thinking about the product, and when the production part comes, I'll get to that. But what uh, we fear is that we start here, but we are always thinking of 10 steps
Yeah.
ahead. And every time you talk about a business or an idea to anyone, we will always discuss the 10th step rather than discussing what do we do today. So that was the hardest part, to sort of divert my attention from the 10th step because, yes, I wanted to start my business, but I was bootstrapping. I was thinking of a product that I hadn't even seen because I'm an artist and I wanted to create by hand. And there's a long story about how my design part worked in this. So there was a lot of thinking, a lot of alone time, a lot of business meetings with myself, which was outdoor walks. And I just learned to stay present and thinking of what I could do today, and that's how I've literally to date, that's what I do.
This is so much gold for anyone listening, especially business owners, because you're right. Like we always think about 10 steps ahead, and this also brings overwhelm. Like when you think about
Absolutely.
the big picture, staying focused on what's right in front of you. So you said production was the biggest challenge, especially at that time, like back in 2020, 21, when the whole world was on lockdown. Can you share a little bit about solving that problem? What helped you step up and figure this thing out?
Yes, so I wanted to create a design that was mine. So what I was doing for my business, as my business, was me reacting out of the fears that I had around me. The first, I think the first distress that I was feeling was that, I had built a life I had a family, I had done whatever I wanted to, and that's everyone's life story, and I don't want to go into the details. I had a thriving career that I had loved, and I enjoyed going to work, but within a flick of a second, it was all gone. So my biggest fear was that you work so hard, but you don't know what will happen because everything can be taken away. And that's how life is. So even if you own a business, that would happen. But I would think that I want to create something that is mine. So if even if people take it away from me, it's still mine. So I spent the first thing was spending a lot of time thinking that, and I also knew that there is one special talent that every human being has, but we never give ourselves the time to really tap into that talent that we have. So I gave myself a lot of time, and I remembered that the reason why I mentioned my embroidery pieces, I had done that in my thesis, and nobody in my class knew how to embroider.
Mm.
So after a lot of thought, I was like, I will create with my hands. I will create my own design. And rather than being inspired by the Eiffel Tower or the CN Tower or anything else that you and I can both be inspired by and create something, I will create my own design archive. So for the first year in the testing times, I was just creating by hand myself. And when I thought of my business model, I broke it down into categories. So when it was stage one meant that needed to create a lot of design. And then stage two was then deriving other product from it. So stage one was that design step where I was creating commissioned art by hand. The next thought that I had to myself was that I want to sell everything that I'm creating. And when I would talk about this idea to people, it was literally like living the emperor's new clothes. If you've read the book,
Yeah.
if you've heard the story. So I wouldn't have a piece. Obviously, I don't have anything that I have to sell to you, but I have to talk about it in such a clear way that the person in front of me knows that, yes, she will be able to deliver. God's been immensely kind, and the to date, all the commission pieces that I've done are commission pieces. So I've never really owned a piece of art that I've created. And that way, and I wanted it really, and why I wanted to do commission pieces was that when you're delivering a product to someone, you work really hard to do your best. Because if I would be creating for myself, that would not, on a day when I'm feeling blah, I would be like, let's
Mm.
just stay in bed and not do anything. But I had to meet a deadline, and I'm good at sort of challenge. That's how I work, that I have to put a challenge and then I will work towards it, even if I'm dying or whatever. So I could really sort of bring focus or structure into my little space that I have to deliver to this person. This is the timeline. And I created a product for the first year, which was a commission piece. And I created about 15 commission pieces in my first year. Each piece takes about 3 to 4 weeks. And I would give myself that time. And I really had fun going through that first stage. And then when the second stage came, uh, you know, everything sort of was delivered to me in a plate. That when I wanted to start with the product. So art is, I feel, not everyone's cup of tea. We
Yeah.
don't have the buying power. We don't have the aesthetic. We don't even have the time for it, right? I love it, but not everyone will love it. So that was my biggest challenge, that how many people will buy art? How will I reach to people who will buy art? So social media, Instagram, I took control of my social media platform. I had gone off completely, shut everything down, and every single day I would post one picture of my threads. So what I'm trying to say here, and there's too many things that happened, just baby steps, one small step a day. You don't know who's looking. And you don't even have to do it for people who are looking. It's just for yourself. The telling yourself that, yes, I was unable to do something which is massive and detrimental, but I did take one step towards my work today. And that, I think, helps you just keep that pace of moving ahead.
Yeah, one step at a time is
Yeah.
how any journey goes one step at a time. You did bring a very good question. How do you find people? So your first clients, were they from your own network, like second degree connections? Like how did you find those first people?
It was my family. It was my family, and I talked to my brother a lot, and he was actually the person who planted that seed in my head that what is it that you do. And he's a consultant. He works with a lot of big businesses, helping them figure out what they do best. So he left me with that question, and he was like, I'll come back to you after 3 months. And I said, 3 months, that's a long time. How about we speak again in 3 hours? And he's like, no. So, understanding that I have to give myself that time. And when I arrived at that stage, that yes, I want to work with threads, and that understanding also came in a very strange way. That I was at Walmart buying fruit, so I picked up a big watermelon, and I saw threads lying around. And I was like, hey, I'll buy a few of these, because every day, but prior to that, I was thinking, oh, I'll be a writer, I will be a teacher, I will be a this, I will be a that, because I was reading a lot of self-help books, and every day I would come up with a new idea and I would sleep with it. And then in the morning I'd be like, I don't feel it. Let's just think what else I can be. I went heavy into journaling. So I was writing but and doing whatever, all the things that you are told. So I was going by the book. And when I picked up the threads, I came back home, I embroidered. I woke up the next morning and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it put people in my family in shock, because trying to sustain a life with embroidery as your main focus is not something that seems like an ideal idea. But I knew what I wanted, and my family has been supportive that way. He was like, great, I'll your first commission is me. And that's the biggest lesson I learned, that just helping people be who they are and being okay with it without judging them or giving them a piece of advice. Because I would speak to him because I wanted some advice, but he never gave me any advice. He just sort of said, do what you want to do. And it's very hard for all of us to find people like that in our lives. And so I did what I wanted to do. And when I did my first piece, I posted that on my social media. It was very hard for me to take a picture, and I because my piece was quite big, so I was thinking in my head that how will a person know the size of this if I'm a viewer. So I was like, okay, so I have to sit with my frame so people can sort of manage this, understand that this is my human size and this is the frame size. But I was so camera conscious that I said, no, I cannot put my face on social media, this, that. In that moment, I had a friend who was like, no way, I'm going to come and take a picture. And we took a picture in my parking lot, like, not on the inside, but the outside. There was a green belt, and I just sat there with my frame. So, yes, when you take that first step towards yourself, you will find people who will come and hold you in that moment. And when I posted that, then another second cousin of mine, she reached out. She's like, hey, I'm making my office and I would love something for my office. So I did that, and then the next one came. So now I create pieces for people I don't know at all. So it happens slowly, but surely it will happen.
Yeah, and it's something that it's a natural journey, even like with our own business and like other businesses as well. Like it's a natural journey where it starts with, like you said, the small circle, the people who support you in the beginning, and uh, it shows that uh, it's like we're never self-made. Like there's always some kind
Absolutely.
of support. I
Absolutely.
love all the signs you shared. You were talking about like looking for the signs and listening for signs, and how like buying a watermelon in Walmart, and suddenly like you see the threads there, and
And
you're like, oh,
that the cashier, so I picked up all the threads that were there, because
wow.
I'm crazy about all of these things, right? And like about creating. And I picked up whatever there was, because I was scared that what if I start this and I run out, because I understand how many quantities you need. So when I went to the cashier, she refused to check me out. because she
Wow.
was overwhelmed as well, because it was COVID was just
Yeah.
starting. We were going into a very big lockdown. And she's like, there's no way I'm going to check out all of these. And we didn't have self checkout at that time. So because of my experience with in retail, I was like, how about I do it myself? And you can just stand here and watch if I did it right or not. So I checked myself out myself because that woman was having a panic attack. And I understand that we are all battling through our journeys, but rather than, for a minute I was like, why is she not doing her job? But I was like, I need these threads. So I have to figure a way out to help her and to help myself to be able to take these home with me. And if you give yourself that 1 minute, that slight change of perspective will resolve a lot of problems for each one of us. But it's very hard for us to change that, to to switch in that moment of overwhelm.
Oh, yeah, especially like you said in that moment. Now, you are doing something very interesting because in a world where a lot of businesses are more towards services, you're actually creating products. And I'm curious to hear, what do you love most about your business and the work you do?
What I love is that I love working with my hands, which is why my main work is creating the art that I do. I'm sitting in front of my own piece. This is something that I created in my thesis. I never thought I would go back to it. Maybe I was arrogant at that time. But God sort of puts you back in your place. The next product that I create is product designed from this, derived from this, which is a lot of sweatshirts, scarves. I'm wearing one, bed linen, and whatever else that I can think of. Why would I do product is your question, because we're all buying product all the time. We all need product, especially I started off with bed linen, which is the hardest product to sell, which I know through my experience. But we all need a bed sheet to sleep on. We all want a bed, and we want a well-made bed, be it a man or a woman or a kid. Age doesn't sort of become a barrier. So understanding that what is it that people need. And most of all, I eventually wanted to face my fears in terms of product, but then I came to work with scarves and shawls, and I wanted to do something which was a lot of color, which is why I chose to create scarves and dupattas, as we call them, because there is no size limitation. I don't have to worry about, doing a small, medium, large, extra large, if it fits nice or if it doesn't. So I made life easier for myself. And I wanted to do something which was so much color and so much vibrance that when a woman walks into a room, everyone turns around and looks at her. So that's something that I wanted to give as a service. I want people to feel beautiful. And everything that I create comes with a name and comes with a story. And I post that journey. I try to post that journey on my social media so people are with me on a journey when I'm putting a dot on a paper. So how I do that and how do I create it as an end product? So again, God's been so kind that there's been such enthusiastic followers that they're following the journey. And when they see the name and they read up, I love writing. So they read the captions and they're like, oh my God, this is me. So they'll not buy the product because it looks nice. It's because they're resonating with the story. And I feel that my product then becomes a service that people can sort of reflect through it on their journeys, on their lives, what they want to be, and how they want to allow themselves to just have fun with color. Because in our times, we're generally wearing black, white, beige, black, white, beige.
Yeah.
So yes, have your black, white, beige or wardrobe, and if you want to add color on one day, just throw on a scarf and there's color. So the service, my product becomes a service because I wanted to feel beautiful and I didn't. I wanted to feel loved and I didn't. And as I said, that I've met all of my own fears through my business. Is that okay? And I've also heard that whatever you want, give it to people. So I want to give a product to the people so that they feel beautiful. And I can't tell you the amount of photos people send to me when they're wearing the product and they're dancing and they're flaunting it. And and I think that is my biggest win, that Yes, I have made someone really enjoy themselves in that moment. And I think that's the biggest service that I can do in my limitation as a business. And there are times when I can't even repost the photos because there's just so many coming in, and I'm just so overwhelmed with I have to do this, because yes, that's the biggest challenge of a business, that you're doing everything yourself. So but yes, my product, this is how it becomes a service. And I also do run a lot of workshops where I want to teach people how to spend time with themselves through art. You don't have to be an artist, and that is the most gratifying part about uh, my business.
Love it. It's like you give these pieces of it's a piece of art. What it's not a commodity. What you create, you give it a soul. You turn it into something more than just a product. Like you said, it's a service, and it's amazing, so beautiful. And the fact that you are also now sharing the joy of art, with those workshops. Uh, and are these workshops like virtual, or do you do them
They're in,
locally?
they're in person because thankfully COVID is over. So I sort of, just to say, explain what is happening with the business and how I'm transitioning, because I think that's an important part. The first phase was creating the product. That was year one. Year two was actually making some physical product. That was year two, which is ongoing. And for stage one is ongoing as well. And by the third year, I wanted to give back, and I didn't know how I could. And again, the universe helps. There was an art show where I was asked to submit my work. I submitted my work, but then COVID happened, and my art was in an office for 3 years. I went to pick up my work. It was still packed up. And the person who gave me back my work was like, "This piece has been with me for so long, it's wrapped. I'm just curious to see what's inside." So I said, "Why didn't you open it yourself?" She's like, "It wasn't meant for me, but I've just been curious." I said, "You might as well keep it because it's been here for so long." When she opened it, it was my embroidery art form, and she's like, and I just started about, and she's like, "What is this?" And I told her that I'm passionate about this, and I create with my hands, and everything has a story, and da 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 da, I can go on and on. And she's like, "Would you want to come back and teach this to people?" So the
Oh.
universe will. So had COVID not happened, my work would not have been sitting in her face for 3 years, because she was still coming to her office to do her work. And she would see like a brown packed frame, and she didn't know what was inside. And so that's how I got my first workshop uh, deal, let's say. And it was for the city of Richmond Hill. And and then one thing led to another. And and I enjoy doing them in person. I do a few virtual ones for seniors, because it's easier, especially in the winter. But otherwise, wherever it is in the GTA, I'm more than happy to just get there and actually be with people, because after COVID, I think I've learned, like all of us, that actually the physical interaction is a gift in itself, and it's a whole different energy. But
Oh
I can,
yes.
yeah, I do virtual and in person, but in person more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's different when it's in person.
Yeah.
Definitely. Do you have a workshop coming up?
I have a workshop coming up for the city of Richmond Hill. I think it starts in the second week of July. It's a
Mm.
7 week workshop. I
Oh.
have one coming up for the Cooksville. There's a Cooksville event. It's managed by the Indus Community Services. So that's on the 19th of July. It's a 1 day event. And so I offer different sorts of workshops. I can, depending on the time that you have, you tell me, do something for 25 minutes, do something for 2 hours, 1 hour, 7 weeks. Every workshop will have a different form of feel. And it's not just about creating something that looks good, it's about bringing people to themselves, being in the moment, just having fun. uh, all of us are not artists, which is why we don't want to lift a pen or a color. So just giving them that safe space that, you're not judged, nobody's going to come in and grade your work. It's just about having fun. And God's been immensely kind that I've built my own little crew of fiber artists through running these workshops, and I found the best of friends in these people. And I had never thought that I would reach this point, but I think consistency is something that really will help anyone get through whatever they're going through.
Oh, definitely consistency is a big one. Uh, your journey has been amazing, and I'm actually wondering, like, with everything you're doing for the business, you mentioned so many things, and as a small business owner, you handle and juggle a lot of the things. How do you balance taking care of the business, and also you mentioned that you learn to take care of yourself, to put yourself first? How do you balance like these different parts of your life?
So my main job is being a mom to four kids.
Yeah.
So I am a single parent. I have four beautiful children who are in different stages of their lives. And yes, we say my kids are beautiful, but it is, I think, the hardest job. And I think my business started out because of my own need to be around my kids when I was trying to refigure life. And I wanted to do something that allowed me to work around their schedule, allowed me to be around them, because I think the kids are most resilient and I needed to be around them most than they needed me. So I think that choice that, yes, I want to work myself was the first step of self care. And how I balance is that my hours are very flexible. I will do everything that I'm meant to do during the day. In that, I sort of compartmentalize everything that, okay, if I'm going to drop them, then, I will do all my post office runs and my FedEx runs in the same time. And I have to get up, get out of bed, not be in my night suit because I'm working from home, but I have to really treat it as work. So making sure that, you know, I'm not spending time talking to people just because I can. So, and then I think just sort of bringing structure helps you uh, make that balance, because I feel that if you're able to care for your family or do meet your responsibilities as you're meant to, it sort of brings in a very good balance in your own heart. And because I create by my hands, I create myself. So once I'm done with all of my work, I make sure that I don't delay things, that if I have to cook for the kids, it has to be done in the morning and not just before dinner. So, yes, for that, I have to make sure that my groceries are stocked up. I have everything. I'm always meal planning. And so once all of those things are done, by the time they're home and I've fed them and, all they've all grown up as well, then I have the time for me to sit and create by hand. And my kids also know that if mama is doing this, she's a happy person. So at
Yeah.
times they'll say, why don't you go and work? Like if I'm throwing a tantrum that, why is this not done? And why haven't you put your laundry away? Da, da, da. It's like, mama, why don't you just go and work and we'll take care of everything? So they know. And I think, business or no business, being a stay-at-home parent is the hardest and the most thankless job. But I think it's just finding that balance. And, being a parent comes most naturally to me because that's something that is my primary responsibility, which is why I've taken whatever decisions of my life. So there's no hard and fast rule, there's no rocket science plan. And but just staying present, taking everything as it comes, not delaying things and doing it when it comes, So I'm sort of a doer rather than a procrastinator. And that's helped.
Amazing. You mentioned four kids. If any of them decide to have a business, to run a business, what advice would you give?
Spend time with yourself and figure out what makes you the happiest and pursue it. and you will figure a way out. And that's when I talk to them, because they're all at different stages of their life. I tell them that look at us, because my more than my children, nobody knows the struggles that we've been through or we are going through. And I tell them that yes, this is a struggle, but you see that we were able to do this. I was able to do this because I think it is because of my kids I was able to make that decision of stepping out of my marriage. And they knew I came here with nothing at all but children, not even a change of clothes. So they know exactly how difficult it has been and how through that I've been able to sort of figure out what I want to do. And it's not easy. I'll not say it's easy, but it's not impossible. And just because I loved it so much, I would make sure I would do everything that I had to do just so I had time with clarity and nothing sort of weighing me down, that or making me feel guilty that I haven't done that and I'm doing art. So it brought a lot of structure to my life. And more than anyone, my children can see it. And so I hope that they pursue what they love one day when they have to. And that would be my piece of guidance for anyone who's listening to our show.
Thank you so much. Uh, One final question. What does grit and grace mean to you in your life and your business? And I do think that what you're sharing, you have so much grit and so much grace with everything you do. And I'm curious to hear what it means for you in your life and your business.
And I can talk and talk about this. I am all about faith. I think when I hit the rock bottom of rock bottoms, I was understanding that, the doomsday doesn't come, because we fear a lot of things that, oh my God, this is going to, when this happens, what will I do? Thinking 10 steps ahead. And I would just give myself time to say that, okay, the 10 steps ahead has happened, and I'm still alive, and I'm still breathing, and nothing has stopped. That night is over, and today it's the morning. So I spent a lot of time in nature, with nature, observing nature. That has helped me transform my grit or my grief or my pain or my agony into hope. And then just surrendering to the universe that yes, even when in the past life my life was amazing, so for me to even in that stage recognize that something was wrong, I thought I was living my best life then as well, but I wasn't, which is why the universe literally gave me a very huge shake. And I think because I am persistent and consistent, it took me so many years to sort of pull out of it and to understand that this wasn't okay. So I think trusting in God's plan will bring grace. And it's not just for me. When I look around, I speak to people. I think storytelling is the most powerful tool that we've been using over the centuries to really understand grit and grace. And when you hear these stories, which are miracle stories or which are wonders, you are amazed that really that happened. And listening to such stories that are more meaningful rather than painful. And no pain, no gain. We've heard
Yeah.
all of that. So just trusting in God's plan and just being grateful for the fact that I'm alive, for the fact that I'm breathing, for the fact that I have the most prized possession in my life, which is my children with me. I have a supporting family. I have Anna who wants to wake up at 8 in the morning and talk to me. And she was kind enough to reschedule this meeting just because I was able to tell her that I'm not feeling 100%, and she understood. So I communicated. So, these little things that are happening with us on a day-to-day basis, if we allow ourselves to really reflect I think the grit can be converted into grace. And I'm not saying I'm graceful. Ask my kids, they'll be like, no. Mama is a gladiator. But, you know, I have to be the bad cop, which is fine.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure to hear your story. And there's so much packed inside of it. And like you said, we can probably talk for hours. Um,
Yes.
uh, what's the best way for people to connect with you? You mentioned Instagram.
Yes, yes. I am a text person, and with all of these scams happening, I'm scared of the messages and emails that come through. I have an Instagram handle which is called Amna Nawab Design. So send me a DM. Otherwise, you can always email me. My email is amna.nawab@gmail.com. All of my product, which is more of a commercial product or something that is an easy to buy, which is ready, can be purchased through amnanawab.com, which is my website. For commission pieces, it's best to sort of send me a message and then we will connect and see how we can create a piece that is just yours. I want to mention about my commissions is that so many people now come to me with their heirloom pieces, which is maybe a shawl or a small sweater or something, a piece of jewelry that they have from their ancestors, and they don't know what to do with it because it's been in the closet for all these years. So I will put that into the commission piece that I make to make it sort of an art form that is going into your home, sort of connecting their story to yours and giving you something to really celebrate what you have within you. And so that the best way for that is through, I think, Instagram. Drop me a message or send me an email, and we can pick up from there.
Thank you. Thank you, Amna. Beautiful. And yeah, I highly recommend following her. Yeah, even if right now you are not someone who wants anything, like follow her. Like it's beautiful, those designs, and when you are ready, reach out. Thank you so much, Amna. Really appreciate our
Thank you so much,
conversation.
Anna, for having me. This is very, very, very kind of you because I had never imagined that someone would want to talk to me, and someone who I don't know, and speaking your story is I think the biggest tool that the universe gives to us, and it'll connect you to the right people at the right time.
Very well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
yeah, Amna.
Thank you. Bye.